Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're taking a super high-energy look at a really fascinating piece of writing from way back in 1886. And it's all about how nature itself teaches us some massive, absolute game-changing lessons about fairness, kindness, and sharing. Have you ever actually stopped to notice how the world around us operates? Think about it. It doesn't matter who you are, right? The sun still warms your face. The rain still waters your garden. So we're going to explore a classic devotional text that digs into exactly why that is and what it actually means for how you and I treat each other every single day.
So, tell me, have you ever wanted to keep a really good thing entirely to yourself? Like, I want you to be totally honest for a second. Imagine you just found the absolute best, fastest swing on the playground. Or, I don't know, maybe you scored a giant box of the most amazing rare candy. What's your very first instinct? If you're like, well, most of us, your first instinct is probably to guard it. You kind of want to keep it a secret, hold on to it tightly, and make absolutely sure nobody else takes it from you. It's super tempting to hoard the awesome things we get in life. But the text we're diving into today, it flips that exact idea totally upside down.
All right, moving into our first big idea, sunshine for everyone. And yes, that even includes the rule breakers.
This brings us to a really famous concept from the book of Matthew chapter 5, which our author quotes. It says, "God makes his sun rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the just and on the unjust." Now, let's break that down into everyday terms. Think of the just as, the kids who always do their homework, who always follow the rules, the ones who help clean up the classroom without even being asked. Then you've got the unjust. These are the kids who might be a little mean on the playground, the ones who cause trouble or bend the rules. The mind-blowing thing here is that the clouds, the rain, and that bright sunshine, they have a mission to bless everyone. The sunshine doesn't just mysteriously stop at the edge of the school bully's yard. No way. God sends those blessings in a straight line to both sides.
Our author then writes this hilarious, but honestly very true sentence. She says, "I am so grateful that finite minds cannot have the ordering of things." Now, by finite minds, she literally just means human brains like yours and mine. And let's think about why she's so relieved we aren't the ones in charge. Imagine for a second if you had a magical remote control for the weather. If someone was mean to you at recess, you might press a button to make a giant, gloomy rain cloud follow them around all weekend, right? And of course, you'd probably only give perfect, sunny beach days to your absolute best friends. The author says if humans were calling the shots, there would be so many mixed signals, it would be a total mess. We would be completely unfair.
Instead, the God of nature knows exactly what the whole world needs. Sunshine, showers, heat, cold, boom, boom, boom. Every single natural blessing is given to the world as a whole. God doesn't hold back the rain just because someone forgot to say thank you. The text actually points out that there's a narrowness in human comprehension that dishonors God. Basically, when we kind of think God only loves us and our little small group of friends, we are thinking way, way too small. His love and His mercy, they are for absolutely everyone.
Which brings us perfectly to our next point. Don't hoard the good stuff, pass it on.
First off, let's talk about that word hoarding. To hoard means to collect and keep a large amount of something all for yourself instead of sharing it. Remember that perfect swing on the playground or that giant stash of candy we talked about earlier? The author of our text explicitly warns us not to do that with God's goodness. She says we shouldn't even entertain the thought that God's mercies are confined just to us and the few people we happen to be interested in. His goodness is absolutely not given to us so we can lock it in a treasure chest and throw away the key.
So, what exactly should we do? Well, the text gives us this brilliant, simple three-step action plan. Step 1. Gather up divine tokens of favor. Think of a token like a little reminder or a small gift. Every time something good happens, a beautiful sunny day, acing a spelling test, having a blast with your family, recognize it as a gift. Step 2. Return praise and thanksgiving. Just say a quick, simple thank you to God for those awesome things. And here's the absolutely crucial part. Step 3. Pass them along to others. The goodness bestowed upon us is meant to be a relay baton in a race, not a stop sign.
So, this whole idea is summarized perfectly in this quote right here. God expects everyone who enjoys His grace to diffuse this grace as freely as Christ bestows His mercies. Now, I know diffuse is kind of a big word, but think of one of those diffusers that puffs out nice-smelling mist into a room. Or imagine how a drop of food coloring spreads out perfectly in a glass of water. To diffuse means to spread it all around. If you're enjoying God's grace and kindness, well, you're expected to spread that exact same kindness to the people around you, just as freely and generously as the sun shines right on your face.
All right, next section. Tearing down the walls. We're talking no more exclusive clubs here.
The author quotes Jesus saying, "I am the light of the world." Let's think about light for a quick second. Light is a universal blessing. When you walk into a dark room and turn on a lamp, the light doesn't just suspiciously shine on your favorite chair and leave the rest of the room in pitch blackness, right? No, it pours out everywhere. The text says this light pours its treasures out on a world that is unthankful, unholy, demoralized. Even when the world is acting totally ungrateful or, just messy, the light just keeps on shining.
And this brilliantly illustrates what the Lord came to do. He came to demolish every single wall of exclusion. No more VIP treehouses where only the cool kids get to hang out. He says to throw open every wall. Let every ear hear. Let every eye see. Let thirsty souls drink freely. When we act like this, we're making sure God's love isn't kept locked up in some exclusive club. Think about it. If you see someone sitting all by themselves at the lunch table, demolishing a wall of exclusion means actually pulling up a chair next to them and inviting them in. It literally means sharing your snacks, sharing your games, and sharing your friendship without making people pass some sort of silly test first.
Which leads us into our final big idea, gathering the flowers, or as I like to call it, choosing joy.
So the text paints this amazing picture of two completely different ways you can choose to walk down the path of your life. On one hand, you can choose to weep and groan and mourn and stumble at every single step. You know the feeling, I have way too much homework. Oh man, my chore list is like a mile long. Ow, I stubbed my toe. We all have days exactly like that, right? But instead of groaning, the text says we can actually choose to gather precious, fragrant flowers and rejoice. We have a really clear choice here. We can focus on the annoying rocks we keep stumbling over, or we can focus on the beautiful flowers growing right next to them. Because guys, God scatters blessings all along our path. He makes the path to heaven pleasant. The sunshine, the refreshing showers, the awesome friends, the fun moments, they are literally all scattered right there in front of you. But here's the catch. God doesn't force you to pick them up. You have to actively choose to open your eyes, notice the good things, and gather them up with a really thankful heart.
So, wrapping this all up, we've learned that God sends His sunshine and His rain to everyone, both the rule followers and the rule breakers. We've learned that we aren't supposed to hoard those blessings in some secret club, but instead, we're supposed to tear down the walls and diffuse kindness everywhere we go. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to take with you into your day. How will you be sunshine to an unjust person today? Seriously, think about that kid who always annoys you. Think about someone who maybe wasn't very nice to you yesterday. How can you be like the sun and shine warmth and kindness on them anyway? Maybe you invite them to play a game. Or maybe you just give them a really genuine smile. Look, if nature can do it without playing favorites, for sure so can you. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer today. Now get out there and diffuse some grace.